What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto saved Kurenai and made harem with her? If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments, and also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. Kurama was the nine-tailed fox. He was the most powerful demon lord there was. With a simple shake of one of his tails he could level mountains and cause tidal waves that could wipe out nations. Yet he was not a mindless killing machine. He enjoyed destruction and mayhem as much as the next guy, but he did not simply do it just to do it. There had to be a reason behind it. The attacks on the leaf were due to being forced against his will. He had lived a very long time. He had lived for hundreds of years. He had seen empires rise and empires fall. He had met many humans. Not many had earned his respect. In fact, very few did and do. However, one that had earned his respect was Naruto. Kurama thought to himself after the battle was over that if he had a son he would want his son to be like Naruto. He had given Naruto a few gifts after the final battle. He remembered the look of shock on the blonde's face. Flashback. Kurama was in his fox form, but he was smaller. He was speaking with Naruto. Kami had ordered that all the demons be sent to hell. The demons did not mind, for to them it was home. The other demon lords were saying goodbye to their host, the ones that were still alive anyway. Naruto was speaking with Kurama. Naruto said, "You know, you crazy fox, this is going to sound insane, and believe me, I know insane. I think I am going to miss you." Kurama smiled, and not his insane creepy smile. The one that said I am going to eat you. No, this was his true happy smile. He said, "I agree, Kit. I shall miss you as well. However, I will not be far. I will leave you with some gifts." Kurama wrapped his tails around Naruto and transferred some of his chakra to the blonde. After a short time, Kurama released Naruto and said, "I have given you more of my power. You will gain tails the more of my power you master, up to 9 tails. You will be able to transform and have a greater control over the elements. You are also immortal." Naruto was shocked but also happy. He bowed before the Fox Lord and said, "Thank you for your kindness." Kurama said, "No problem, and please don't bow to me. You are my friend and as such should not bow to me. That and you bowing is not right. Anyway, you can also turn any mates you have. I also wish you to use this." In puff of smoke a scroll appeared in front of Naruto. He opened it and saw that it was a summoning contract for the foxes. Kurama said, "Never have I found anyone worthy of such an honor. I want you to be the first, and you shall pick who will use this or not. The foxes have many uses, including tracking, battle and pranks. Also call for a chat." Naruto signed his name. He was allowed to have more than one contract, so he signed with the foxes. He then hugged the fox and the Kurama hugged back. Kurama said, "I am the boss of the foxes, so call me sometime just to chat. I want an invite to your wedding." Kurama then turned around and headed home. End flashback. Kurama gave Naruto those gifts to make up for all the stuff Naruto had to go through because of him. The other reason was Kurama had seen many humans and very few had hearts as pure as Naruto. Allowing Naruto to die would be a great disservice to the world. Kurama had stayed around for a few days to make sure Naruto was able to talk to Hinata. He had heard every word the girl said. It made him mad. It was the first time he felt true rage in many years. Being controlled did not count. He wanted to kill the white-eyed one, but he held off. He had bigger fish to fry. Kurama knew that there were other mates out there for his former host. He just had to find her and get Kami to agree. It was about 2 weeks before the wedding that he found the perfect mate. She was everything Naruto was looking for, and Naruto was everything she was looking for. Plus, both were attracted to each other. It would take a little bit of time, but given the right nudge, then they would fall in love. Kurama now had to get Kami to agree. He knew that Kami was the reason behind Hinata's actions. If Kami did not agree, then the one Kurama had in mind would end up dead, and that would hurt Naruto even more. So Kurama made it to Kami and spoke with her. She was about 5 feet tall with long white hair and black eyes. She said, "I know why you are here, give me a reason to allow it." Kurama said, "He saved the world and you formed darkness. Madara would not have stopped until he was in charge and you were destroyed. You took away from him everyone that has ever loved him. His parents, Haku, and now Hinata." Kami sighed and said, "You are right, but what can I do? She may not work." Kurama said, "I think she will work, you just need to set up the meeting, Fix her problems and let me turn her daughter immortal when the time is right and let the rest go from there. I know this will work. I know Naruto better than anyone else. Kami said. Very well, I agree. I am tired of my champion being screwed and I hated doing that, but Hinata was not right for him as his immortal mate. I hope we are right that this one is right for him. Kurama said. She is right for him, I can feel it. I know it to be true. However, you can't force her to love him, it will only cause more problems. So with a bow the demon fox lord left to return home and start his plan. It would not be easy, but when it worked Naruto would be happy finally. Kurama thought when it worked and not if it would work, since he was sure it would work. It had been a month since the wedding. Naruto was on a long mission. It took him a week longer than he expected to take. It did not bug him since he had no one to go home to. He had no one to greet him. He had no one to worry if he would come back home alive. Sure, he had friends, but they had their own lives to worry about. He also had his grandmother, but she had to worry about the village. He got back to the village and spoke with Tsunade. Tsunade said, I am glad to see you back, Naruto. I got worried. Naruto smiled. Tsunade had become the mother or grandmother for him. He cared about her and she was the only reason he kept going right now. It was at the point that Tsunade did not even care if Naruto called her grandma anymore. She was actually glad now when he called her that. She said, Naruto, you will not like this, but you have been working too much. So unless it is needed, I am not going to send you on any missions. You may still train, but I can't let you go on any more missions. You will be off duty for 6 months. Tsunade expected him to yell about that. In all honesty, she hoped that he would. If he did, then he would be more normal in her eyes. Naruto sighed and said, It is okay, Grandma. Thank you for looking out for me. I am glad someone is looking out for me. If you need me, you know how to find me. Naruto left. He went to get some ramen, and once he was done he started to walk around for a while. He walked around the village and got near the forest. He sat down and summoned a small black fox. She was named Midnight and she was the personal summons of Naruto. She was like his sister. She jumps up on his shoulders and says, So how are you, bro? Naruto sighs. What is the point anymore? I don't want to be a weapon, but right now that is all I feel like. Midnight cuddled up with her brother and said, Don't turn into one. That will not end well for you. Don't give up. I say wait till the end of the year. If you have not found someone to date, then adopt a child. There are a lot of children that need homes due to the war. Naruto softly smiled at this and said, Thanks sis, you are right. Just as he was about to go home and get some sleep, he and Midnight hear a scream for help. The two run to the location and see a little girl running from 5 men. The girl is about 4 years old. She has long black hair and light-colored red eyes. Her name is Rose and she is the daughter of Asuma and Kurenai. Asuma died in the war, so Rose never met her birth father. However, everyone in the village, including Naruto, told her about her birth father. No one was going to allow her to not know. Naruto watched her a few times when Kurenai was on a mission and no one else could. The two liked each other and got along well. So when Naruto sees the 5 men chasing her, his blood starts to boil. Using the blunt part of his sword, he knocks them out. The sword he has is the one his mother used in battle and the one that earned her the nickname of the Red Death. He hoped to someday surpass her, and since he was immortal, that was going to happen. Rose clings to Naruto and does not let him go. Naruto had summoned a few more foxes. One comes back a few minutes later with Anko and, seeing what almost happened, drags the 5 away along with some shadow clones of Naruto. Naruto gently picks up Rose and Midnight shouts, I found Kurenai, she is safe. She was not raped, she is okay, she may have a headache but she is okay. Naruto creates a shadow clone without using seals. It is a good thing since he can't use his hands. He tried twice and each time Rose clung to him tighter. The clone gently picks up Kurenai. A small blue fox, her name was Ice, came up to him. Naruto asked her to get Tsunade. The group makes it back to Naruto's home. This home was his parents and he took it over after the war. Hinata made every move she could to stop it from being given to Naruto. He gets inside and has the clone place Kurenai on the couch. He is still holding on to Rose. He asks her, Do you want anything? Rose shakes her head no. She is very scared right now and does not want Naruto to leave. So Naruto sits down in a chair. The little girl falls asleep in his arms, holding on to him very tightly. Tsunade gets to his home, or her home, since Naruto allowed her to move in. The house had many rooms. Suonde had her own wing. She sees Kurenai and does a checkup on her. After a few short minutes she says, "She is okay, just a small bruise. She was not raped. I think they were going to do it later. Now it is time to check on the girl." Naruto said, "That is great news. Can you check her form this spot? Whenever I try to move she starts to shake violently and clings to me tighter." Suonde smiled. She noticed how Naruto was gently holding Rose and stroking the young girl's hair and whispering comforting words to her. She said, "Of course I can, and I think you need to adopt soon if you are not going to get married. You will make a great father." Naruto blushed and said, "Thank you. Now can you look over Rose please?" So Suonde did and said, "She is okay, no scratches on her. I would recommend to Kurenai that she sees a mind healer like Ino, but other than that she will be fine." Naruto said, "Okay, well, since I can't move I am going to get some sleep. Good night, grandma." Suonde smiled and got into a chair and fell asleep as well. Midnight gave out a soft howl and 30 other foxes appeared in a large poof of smoke. Midnight said, "Okay everyone, please portal the home and do not let anyone near it unless it is the approved people. Wake Naruto if there is trouble and get the other 3 out." The foxes all nodded and went out to do just that. All the foxes knew what happened to Rose. To them harming a child was unforgivable. All of them wanted to rip to pieces the ones that tried to harm the girl. Midnight stood guard over her brother. She did not call him master since Naruto did not like it. He felt it was wrong and after some time she called him brother. She was told the plan by Kurama and she agreed that Kurenai would be a great mate for her brother. Plus Rose would be a great leader as well. She only hoped that a relationship did work or else her brother would be in worse shape. Kurenai Yuhi was the Leaf Village's greatest master of genjutsu. She had taken part in the final battle. She was told she did not have to fight since she had a daughter, but she wanted to fight. She knew she could die, but she had to take the chance. She had to fight to protect her daughter. Rose was Kurenai's pride and joy. The mother and daughter pair were enjoying a day out, just having fun when they were attacked. Kurenai saw the 5 men coming and was able to warn Rose. Rose started to run. The men hit Kurenai with something because she passed out and all she heard before blackness overcame her was Rose screaming for help. Kurenai woke up and she felt sore, very sore. It was then that she looked around and did not know where she was. She started to panic since she felt she had been kidnapped and any time now the kidnappers were going to rape her. She gets up but feels a hand push her down gently. She hears a voice say, "Kurenai, you need to rest. Your daughter is okay, just look over there." So she does and sees her daughter sleeping on someone that looks like Naruto. She then noticed that Tsunade is the one that was talking to her. Kurenai asked these questions one after the other without a break. "What happened to me? What happened to Rosé? Where are we? Who is she holding on to? Why is she holding on to him with a death grip?" Tsunade smiled and is amazed at the speed with which the questions were asked. The Leaf Leader enjoyed working with Kurenai since she was one of the level head ninjas in her ranks. Kurenai was always so calm and collected, so it amused the Leaf Leader to see her like that. She said, "You are in my home. Actual Naruto's home, but since I live here I guess it is my home as well." Kurenai says, "Okay, what about the other questions?" Suonde says, "Okay, Rose is sleeping on Naruto. He is the one that saved you both. He brought you here and asked me to look you and Rose over. You were not raped." Naruto was able to prevent that. Quote, she took a pause so Kurenai could take in the information. The red-eyed ninja was very happy to hear that nothing had happened to her or Rose. She had to thank Naruto but she did not know how. Suonde said after a few minutes, "As to why your daughter has a death grip on Naruto, every time he tried to put her down she clung to him like her life depended upon it. Naruto did not have the heart to remove her, so he sat down and fell asleep. He has been on a mission." Kurenai said, "Did they touch Rose?" The two heard a voice say, "No, they came close but they did not actually touch her." Looking up they see a small black fox. Suonde is used to the fox but Kurenai is a little freaked out. The fox says, "I am Midnight and the personal summons of Naruto. He calls me his sister anyway. Your daughter is fine. I had a mind healer look at her. She will be scared for a few weeks of stranger, but that is normal for this type of attack." Kurenai says, "I can't thank you too enough for all that you have done." Midnight says, "Nothing needs to be done. Harming children is one crime we cannot stand. By we I mean Naruto and the rest of the foxes." Kurenai said. Okay, but I am confused as to something. My daughter would not hug someone like that unless she knew the person. So I am guessing she knows Naruto, but how? Suande says. The one that I get to watch Rose when you are on a mission is Naruto. Kurenai trusted Suad's judgment, so she asked her leader to find someone to watch her daughter when she was out of the village on a mission. Kurenai asked. I get the feeling that he has been avoiding me. Suande said. The answer is simple, he is. He feels that you hate him for what happened to Asuma. Kurenai looked ashamed. She never did hate Naruto, not for having the fox, not for the death of her lover. When Naruto was younger she used to watch out for him. She always thought he was cute. Now lately she had noticed that he had become very handsome. Midnight said, if you want to thank him, let him see Rose and hang out with her. The other thing is, let him know you do not hate him. That will help him a lot. Naruto had woken up, he had heard everything. So he was really happy when he heard Kurenai say, I don't hate him at all. I never hated him. I wanted to strangle Hinata when she said those words to him. I still want to do it. Naruto said, that makes me very happy to hear that, Kurenai. Kurenai gets up and attempts to take her daughter back. After a few minutes she was able to pry her daughter off. She then gets ready to leave. Naruto says, I am sending a few foxes to watch over her just in case there were others. Kurenai said, thank you, Naruto. I wish for you to come over tomorrow night and let me cook a meal for you. She took a pause and said, I am sorry that I led you to think that I hate you. I don't hate you. If you wish to see my daughter, just ask. You are always welcome. Naruto smiled and said, thank you, I will be honored to come tomorrow night. May I bring something? Kurenai asked. Nothing at all, just come and be ready to have a nice time. Kurenai left with her daughter and a small force of foxes that were hidden in the shadows. Suande could not resist saying, so you got a date tomorrow night? Naruto said, it is not a date, she is just being nice and thanking me for saving her daughter. Suande said, yes I know, but I can still tease you. Besides, it would be nice if it was date, I know you would not mind that. Naruto said, any guy in this village besides the married ones and the ones that are gay would like to date Kurenai. Suande said, true, well, good night my grandson. She hugged him and gave him a kiss on the cheek. Naruto would not admit it, but he would not mind if it was in fact a date and not just a thank you. For yes, he did find Kurenai to be a very beautiful woman. She was one of the most beautiful women in the village, but he knew nothing about her. Midnight, sensing her brother's thoughts, said, now is your chance to get to know her. She could be a great friend or she could be more. Naruto said, you are right sis, I will do just that and see what happens. Kurenai had gotten home and she was too tired to bring her daughter to her bed. So she sat on the couch and put her daughter's head on her lap. She was about to fall asleep when she saw a small yellow fox cuddle up to Rose and a small light blue fox cover them with a blanket. The small light blue fox said, if you need anything please let us know. Kurenai said, how come that fox is cuddling with my daughter and what is her name? The light blue one said, I am called Ice and she is called Lighting. She is cuddle with your daughter because she feels a bond. It is like Kiba's clan and the dogs. If you allow her, then your daughter will have a friend for life no matter what she does. Ice took a pause and said, before you ask, no, Naruto has not been teaching Rose the ways of the ninja. He knows you do not want her to be one. So he has not taught her a thing. Lighting was playing with her one day and they two have a bond, it seems. We were not sure how you would feel about it, so Lighting has stayed away. Kurenai said, I will talk with Naruto tomorrow night and we can discuss it then. Ice said, okay, good night. Kurenai went to sleep and did not wake up till her daughter woke her up. Rose had gotten up that morning and she knew she was not in the same spot she fell asleep on last night. She noticed her friend Lighting was right next to her and she notices that she is near her mom. She tackled her mom in a huge hug and starts to cry. That is what wakes up Kurenai, hearing her daughter cry. She pulls her close to her and says, it is okay, no one will harm you. We were saved thanks to Naruto and the foxes. I have good news, he is coming tonight for dinner. Rose stopped crying and said, that is good, I like him, he is a great person. He is so much fun to be with. Kurenai said, so he has been watching you? How come you never told me? Rose said, you never asked. He told me to tell you that he was watching me. I have been lying to him and have been telling him that it is okay for him to watch me. Kurenai said, it is not okay to lie, young lady. Rose said, I know mommy, but I did not want him to stop watching me. He takes care of me and helps me see that I can do anything I want. Plus he needs me. Kurenai said. What do you mean by that? Rose said. He is so very sad, I can feel it. When he is playing with me he is happy, I can feel it. Why is he so sad, Mom? Kurenai was unsure how to answer that. She of course knew the answer, but how to explain it to a 4-year-old? Lighting jumped up and said. The one he loved broke his heart in a terrible way. She called him a monster. That, and combined with the fact that he was always treated badly by the people in this village, makes it hard for him. Lighting took a pause and said. Rose, you are right, you have been helping Naruto. You have helped him more than anyone else in this village has besides his grandmother. Kurenai said. Well, from this day forward I will be his friend and will help him. I want to help him. Sad and depression do not work well with Naruto. I miss the days he used to play pranks. So Kurenai told her daughter and her fox guardians the stories of Naruto's pranks until she had to start making dinner. It caused laughter to fill the room. Naruto had gotten up that morning, he could not sleep. He usually could not sleep since he had nightmares. Most of them involved Hinata and the words she said. A few had Hinata hurting the people precious to him. Yes, he had those nightmares last night, but he kept thinking, which is what kept him awake. Holding Rose last night awoke a feeling inside his heart. He knew what it was and he knew what he had to do. Naruto spent a lot of time at the orphanage playing with the children. One of the first people to apologize to him was the matron of the orphanage. She had badly mistreated Naruto. She only did it since she was forced to. The civilian council told her that if she did not mistreat Naruto then they would cut her funding. They also did the same thing when she kicked him out at the age of 4. She had not been in good shape ever since. The guilt was eating her up. Naruto forgave her since she was only looking after the best interest of all the children. She cried when Naruto forgave her. Naruto went often to the orphanage. There was one little girl that no one wanted to adopt and it worried Naruto. She spent a lot of time with him. She had long black hair and bright blue eyes. She was the same age as Rose, and like Rose she liked Naruto and enjoyed when he came to visit. Her name was Amber. Naruto knew when he got up that morning that he had to adopt her. He did not know what, but he had to do it. So he went downstairs to see his grandmother. She could tell right away that something was troubling him. Naruto said, "The little girl I have been telling you about at the orphanage, I am going to adopt her. Last time I left she had a look in her eyes of despair and sadness. I need to do it. Will you support me on this?" Tsunade was shocked but said, "Naruto, I have heard a lot of crazy things in my life, but this is the craziest. However, I will support you. Let us go and get your daughter." Naruto said, "I figured I was going to have to argue or beg for your help." Tsunade smiled and said, "I am not above that, but in this case I think it is a great idea." So the two left to go to the orphanage. When they got there the two were greeted by the matron. She smiled at them and said, "What can I do for you two?" Naruto asked, "Has anyone adopted Amber yet?" The matron said sadly, "I am afraid no one has yet." Naruto said, "I would like to adopt her if that is okay." The matron smiled a bright smile before saying, "Of course, let us go see if she wants to be adopted by you." Naruto walked into the room and a little girl sees him and makes a beeline for him. She hugs him and says, "I am glad you are back. I missed you." Naruto picks her gently and says, "Amber, do you want a home? Do you want to have a father? If so, do you want to live with me and become my daughter?" Amber started to cry, but these were tears of joy. She hugged him tighter and said, "Yes, I do, Daddy." So after all the paperwork was done with, Naruto took his new daughter out. He was going to take her shopping, but first she needed to get some food. Amber only had a few items. Suande had gone back to work. Shizune was sent to help Naruto do clothing shopping. Naruto said after they had picked out enough outfits for Amber to have a wardrobe, "Thanks for your help. I am at a loss as to what to do with clothing." Shizune said, "Don't worry, my friend. I was glad to help. Now go get ready for your date." Naruto blushed and said, "It is not a date." Shizune said, "I know, now go and get ready." Naruto took Amber to a toy store. She was encouraged to pick out a few toys. She really liked the stuffed nine-tailed fox. Naruto thought it was very funny, so he got it for her. The two then headed home to get ready. He said, "Tonight we are having dinner at a friend's house. She is thanking me for helping her daughter. Her daughter is your age, I think you two could be friends." Amber asked, "Will I be allowed there, Daddy?" Midnight said, "Yep, you sure are allowed there." Kurenai's words were, "Why would he ask such a stupid question? Of course she is welcomed here." Amber was not at all freaked out by the talking foxes. She was used to them. Like Rose, she also had a fox partner. Hers was red and named Ruby. Ruby was sitting on her shoulders. Naruto loved it when Amber called him daddy. He could not explain why, but he loved it. After getting home and getting dressed for dinner, the father-daughter pair made their way to Kurenai's home for dinner. Amber climbed on her daddy's shoulders. Up above, Kurama was laughing his butt off. The little girl got a toy plushie of him. He should be offended by the toy plushie, but he was not. He thought it was cool. Whoever made them really got his likeness. Naruto adopting Amber was not a part of his original plan, but he thought it was good. Kami said form behind him. I thought it would work. She lost her parents in the war. Naruto can help her and she can help him. Plus she will be a great person. When the time comes, I want you to turn her as well. Kurama said. Unexpected, but I like it. I am shocked that you would allow this. Kami said. I know I have not acted like it, but I do actual like Naruto. I respect him. He has a great heart. I was at first furious when you made him immortal. However, I agree with you. The world would be a bad place if he died. She took a pause before saying, now let us watch the dinner. Shizune was speaking to her master and mentor, and she asked the question that was burning on her mind. You see, as the Hokage, Suande had to approve any adoptions that were done with any of her ninjas. So she wondered why Suande allowed it. She asked her master that point blank. Thankfully, the relationship they had allowed that. Suande answered with a question of her own. How was he today when you helped him? Was he the same as he has been the last 6 months, or was he different? Shizune thought about it and said. He was a little like the Naruto we used to know. Not all the way, but a little bit. Suande said. That is why I allowed it. If all goes well, then we will have the old Naruto back. If we have the old one back, then maybe he can find a wife and fulfill his real dream. Naruto and Amber were on their way to dinner with Kurenai and Rose. Naruto was starting to feel like himself once more. He knew he was not 100%, but he was getting there, and that was enough for him. After a few minutes, the pair gets to Kurenai's home. She lets them in, and Amber is a little shy. She hides behind her dad's leg and holds onto it tightly. Rose goes up to Amber and sticks out her hand. The two shake hands. Amber sees that Rose has a fox on her shoulder as well, so she goes and starts to play with her. Amber knows that foxes only go to people that are good, so she knows she is safe. Kurenai and Naruto start to talk and chat about stuff. Kurenai really likes chatting with Naruto. He is fun to talk with. Plus he listens to her, and that is something that very few do with her. Anko, her best friend, listens, but most of the time she is drunk. Naruto listens and hangs on every word. Kurenai was thinking that she may have to seek out Naruto if she needs to talk to someone from now on. Naruto listened, but not only that, he did not judge nor did he give advice, he just listened. After about an hour, Kurenai said, Naruto, about lighting, will she harm Rose? Naruto said, no, not at all. She would die before that happens. She will protect Rose with her life. He took a pause before saying, think of lighting as an older sister always watching over Rose. No matter what, lighting will not fail. She is beating herself up. Kurenai asked, why is that? Naruto said, simple, she feels that she should have done more. She feels that it's her fault that you two were hurt. Kurenai said, okay, what needs to be done for this bond to form? Naruto smiled and said, it already has. Will you allow lighting to stay with Rose? Kurenai said, you need her. Naruto smiled and said, she is a great friend, but she would do well with Rose. I promised Asuma on his grave that I would watch out for Rose. Lighting is helping with that. Naruto called the little fox over and she jumped on his shoulder and said, what do you need, brother? Naruto said, I have good news, Lighting. Kurenai has accepted that you are Rose's guardian. So form this day forward until I say otherwise, you are to be with her. Lighting is happy. She licks Kurenai's cheek and says, thank you, I will protect your daughter with my life. Kurenai started to pet the fox, which earned a happy purr from the fox. Lighting rejoined the girls playing. Naruto was smiling seeing his daughter happy. Kurenai said, so what made you decide to adopt? If you don't mind telling me, that is. Naruto said, well, to be honest, I have been debating on if I should do it or not. I have not felt like I should take care of a child, so that is why I have been holding off. I have not felt emotional stable enough to do that. Naruto took a pause before he said, last night as Rose was holding on to me, I felt something in my heart. I felt the love of a child, the unconditional love of a child towards their parent. I know I am not her parent, but it reminded me of my true dream." He took a pause before saying, "Only my grandmother knows my true dream. The foxes know, so I should restate that. My grandmother is the only human that knows my true dream. My true dream was to get married and have family of my own. I wanted lots of children." Kurenai said, "You figured adopting Amber would help her have a home and help fill the void in your heart." It was not a question, more of a statement. That did not stop Naruto from saying, "Yes, I had hoped to start a family with Hinata, but we all know how that worked." Kurenai pulled him into a hug and said, "I don't know what you are going through, but I will be here to help you. If you need someone to talk to, I will listen." Naruto smiled and hugged her back before saying, "Thank you so much." After that, dinner was served and everyone had a great time eating. Naruto really liked Kurenai's cooking. She was a master cook. Afterwards, the girls were getting sleepy. The girls wanted bedtime story. Naruto said, "Okay, I have one. Listen up, this about a princess." So Naruto told a story about a princess that was cursed by an evil witch, and she ended up with the help her best friend breaking the curse. Along the way, the princess fell in love with her best friend. The two were married, have many hardships. The girls fell asleep after the story. Kurenai gently took her daughter to her room and placed the young girl on her bed. She gets back in and sees Naruto stroking Amber's hair softly. She thinks to herself, "You will make a great father, Naruto. I hope you find a wife soon, and whoever she is will be lucky as can be." She says, "Before you go, in 2 days I am going on a mission that will last 1 to 3 weeks, maybe more. Do you know anyone that can watch Rose for me?" Naruto said, "I was told I am being forced to take some vacation for a few months. So she can stay with me. Amber and Rose get along, I think it will be great." Kurenai said, "You don't mind doing it?" Naruto said, "Not at all, it will be my pleasure to watch her. I promise not to teach her anything." Kurenai said, "About that I have been thinking since last night. It is in her blood, plus it is what she really wants. So if she wants it, can you teach her?" Naruto said, "Of course I will teach her. I was planning on teaching Amber." After a brief hug formed the two adults, in which both felt sad that the hug did not last longer, Naruto picked up Amber and went home. He was about to put her in her bed when she woke up and said, "Daddy, can you please hold me tonight? I am scared I will wake up and this will be a dream." He gently kissed her forehead and said, "Of course, my little angel. Too much paperwork to do." Naruto taught her the secret of how to beat paperwork. She really loved shadow clones, by the way. She was in a bad mood since she could not drink in the morning. After the battle she stopped drinking, so that was out. She got mad at Naruto, but he had been quite lately and that worried her more, but she knew he may be back to his old self soon, so that was out. Now the reason for her bad mood was not Naruto, nor was it Kurenai, no, it was Hinata. Hinata had gotten wind that Naruto had adopted and she did not like it at all. She made it to Tsunade's office and demanded to speak with her. As a clan leader she had the right to do it. Hinata was not alone, she had her allies on the council. By allies I mean minions, puppets, people that still hated Naruto no matter what. Tsuande said, "Lady Hinata and various non-important council members, to what do I owe this interruption?" Before they could speak, Tsuande said, I know the reason. You only come in with your puppets when you want to ruin Naruto's life even more. So I am assuming you heard about the adoption. I can't wait to hear your excuse as to why he should not have been allowed to adopt." Before Hinata says anything, Tsuande shouts, "Shizune, looks like you won the bet she came today." "I lost again?" a random councilwoman asked. The author says random since she is not important. "What bet?" Tsuande said, "I bet Shizune 100 that you lot would come in 2 days." Shizune bet today. So lost. I got rid of my alcohol problem but not my gambling problem. Oh well. One vice at a time. Hinata was not accepting this. She was expecting to be ignored or told no. She was not expecting to be laughed at and treated like a joke. This enraged her. She said, "Now listen, I demand respect." Tsuande said very calmly, but everyone knew she was not. "I am not a part of your little clan. I do not need to respect you. It must be earned, not given. Now say your excuse so I may get back to work." Hinata said, "He is a demon and he will hurt the child. I am going to use all my political power to get the adoption reversed." Tsuande said, "Well, it is a good thing I already saw this coming." She tossed Hinata a scroll and said, "By the way, there are many copies of this one. The scroll said that every cage of all the major villages along with many federal lords all supported the adoption. In other words, if Hinata tried anything her clan was sunk. Suande said, "Now that this over, please leave unless you have another stupid excuse." Hinata said, "I will just have to use other ways." Suande said, "Hinata, whatever you are planning, I would suggest you stop. If you try and harm his child, Naruto will hurt you 1,000 times worse." Hinata smirked and said, "My clan will protect me, he would not dare attack me." Suande said, "He is like his mother. His mother, if you harmed her important people, not even Kami herself could stop his mother. I am giving you this warning. Council members, remember one thing, I am in charge, you are here to advise, not order around. Now get out of my office." Up above, Kami was smiling, for Suande was right about Naruto's mother. Even Kami was scared of Naruto's mother. Hinata left, vowing to kill Naruto and his child. She would have to wait. She wanted Naruto to lower his guard. She knew it would not be easy, but she would do it. The Branch family used to love her and hope she would be clan leader. However, now they feared her and wanted her gone. The members of the Branch family respect Naruto. They had hoped that he would marry Hinata and the two would get rid of the cage bird seal. All that hope was dashed. A Branch family member was out on a mission. She had completed it, but she had one more thing to do. She made it to Naruto's home. He was awake, but his daughter was asleep. She gets him to open the door and she says, "I must be quick. Hinata has discovered that you adopted a child. She plans on killing your child. I do not know when." Naruto asked, "Why are you telling me this? If she finds out, she will kill you and anyone else she feels like." The woman said, "I know, but it is what we as the Branch family want to do. Every one of us hoped and prayed that you and Hinata would marry. We hoped and prayed that the seal would be removed from us forever. Now it is a dead dream." That was why Neji died with a smile on his face. He felt that the rest of us would be free. Naruto said, "It will still happen. I promised and I never go back on my word. I will find a way so that Neji would not have died in vain." The woman said, "I know and I hope to live to see that day." With that, the woman is gone. Naruto says, "Midnight, do we have any seal masters in the clan?" Midnight said, "Yes we do, but removing the seals will only cause war." Naruto said, "Good point, okay then please send some foxes to watch out for that person. Stop Hinata from killing her if you can and anyone else. Also keep tabs on Hinata." Midnight said, "I will not allow her to harm Amber." Naruto said, "I know, but I don't trust her. I am scared of what she might do." Naruto went to get his daughter up and ready for the day. They had a busy day today. Amber gets up and at first she was confused and a little scared. She then sees her daddy and jumps at him and starts to cry. She says, "I thought it was a dream." Naruto pulls her tighter to his chest and says, "It is not a dream, my little angel. You are here to stay and nothing, and I mean nothing, will make me send you back." Amber asked with a lot of fear in her voice. More fear than a child her age should have in their voice, Naruto noted. "What if you find a woman you love and she wants me gone?" Naruto said, "Then I will tell her that she can leave. You are way too important to me. I love you and I will not let anyone take you for me." Amber said, "Thank you daddy, I love you too. What are we doing today?" Naruto said, "We had to get you a checkup. Hopefully with one of the three I trust. There are also a lot of people that wish to meet you, including the ones I see as family. Also tomorrow Rose is going to stay with us for a few weeks. I hope that is okay." Amber smiled at that. She said, "I like her, she is a great friend. She is my first human friend." She started to pet Ruby. Naruto said, "Well, you are going to make more friends." So the pair had breakfast that Naruto made. It was not ramen, if you can believe it. Naruto knew how to cook. He knew since he was a child. The only reason he ate ramen so much was that was all he could afford when he was a kid. After the war he ate better since stores actual sold him stuff and stuff that was not outdated. Naruto said, "Time to go and get you a checkup." Amber was a little nervous, she did not like doctors. The doctor that came to the orphanage was not a nice person, but he was the only one that would come. Naruto said, "Don't worry, I asked that one of three people give you a checkup and all three I trust 100%. They will not hurt you." The two make it to the hospital. Midnight is on Naruto's shoulder. The nurse at the front desk no longer said anything about the fox. She always respected Naruto and never treated him badly. She was one of the few at the hospital that was allowed to treat Naruto. That was one reason she did not say anything. The other was Suande would kill her, of that she had not doubt. The nurse said, "So have you gotten hurt again, Naruto?" Naruto said, "No, I need a checkup for my daughter." The nurse said, "Okay, you know where to wait, and what do you mean, daughter?" The nurse looks down and sees the small child holding on to Naruto. The nurse smiles and says, "Sorry, we were told you had adopted, but no one believed it." Sakura is waiting in her office. She will give the checkup, she said. She beat up the others that wanted to do it. Naruto laughed since he knew the nurse meant that Sakura beat up the others. Naruto gently picked up his daughter and held her close. He carried her up to Sakura's office. When they get there, the pink-haired one is waiting for them. She says, "So you get back from your mission, save Kurenai and her daughter, adopt a child and have dinner with Kurenai, and you don't tell me. I am hurt." Naruto then explained what happened. Sakura said, "Wow, that sounds so like you. Anyway, you want your daughter to have a checkup, well, let us get to it." Sakura looks at Amber and smiles. She says, "Hello little one, my name is Sakura and I am a friend of your father. Actually, we are teammates. Anyway, I am going to check to make sure that you are healthy as can be." So Sakura started to do a scan on Amber. Sakura checked everything and checked it twice. Sakura said, "Well, Naruto and Amber, I have great news. Amber, you are 100% healthy. You are where you should be at your age. Just make sure she has a proper diet and all the usual stuff." Quote, Amber hugged Sakura and said, "Thank you, Auntie." Amber ran to the bathroom, and while there, Naruto said, "So what is the bad news, and before you deny it, I know you by now." Sakura sighed and said with a lot of nervousness, "Physical, she is fine, but there is something up with her mind. I am not sure what it is. I suggest Ino look at her. There are signs that she was abused, they are small but they are there." She was nervous at what Naruto's actions would be. Before the war, he would have hunted down her parents and tried to find answers. Now he said, "Okay, thanks for being honest with me. If her parents are alive, I shall make sure they do not come near her. If they are not alive, then I will help Amber recover, that is all I can do." Amber came back and started to play with the toys in the waiting room. Sakura said, "So how did your date go?" Naruto said, "It was not a date, why do you three keep on saying that?" Sakura said, "Okay, so it was not a date, but I bet you wish it was." Naruto said, "Nearly every guy in this village would wish it. I got to spend time with her and I liked it a lot. I got the change to get to know her and I know I am falling for her, but I am scared." Naruto took a pause and said, "She is everything I am looking for. Smart, funny, has a great heart and will do anything for her important people." Naruto took another pause before saying, "You and I both know it will not happen even if I wanted it. She will not see me that way. Even if we do date, what could prevent her from hurting me like Hinata did?" Sakura was shocked by this. Not by what he said, but by how fast he said it. She figured she would have to draw it out of him. Naruto said, "I figured that was your plan, so I might as well just say it quickly. Now if you excuse me, we need to go see Ino." Naruto and Amber left the hospital and went to see Ino. Ino was shocked when she sees the little girl with Naruto. She asked, "So who is this Naruto?" Naruto smiled and said, "This is my daughter Amber." Ino did a double take and said, "Wow, congrats, so what can I do for you?" Naruto explained what he wanted done. Ino, using her clan's techniques, went into Amber's mind. She came back 10 minutes later and she was mad. Naruto had never seen her that mad before. She then did some hand signs and touched her hands to Naruto's head and said, "Memory sharing." Naruto then saw all that Ino saw and it made his blood boil. The good news is he had the faces of Amber's birth parents, so he could see if they were alive and make sure they stayed away from Amber. Ino said, "Naruto, I know about Kurenai and I am going to say give it a chance if it comes up. Don't let that bitch ruin you." Naruto hugged Ino and thanked her. Amber did the same thing. Ino nearly cried when Amber called her auntie. The duo went to get some lunch and on the way they ran into Iruka, who Amber could tell was a nice guy. They ate lunch together. Iruka said, "So is it true that you are dating Kurenai?" Naruto said, "Not you too." "No, I am not dating her, and to answer your next question, yes, I would love to date her, but answer my question, why would she date me? What do I have to offer one of the, if not the most beautiful woman in the village? She is not only beautiful but she is kind, smart, funny and has a great heart. She is perfect." Iruka said, "Besides the vast amounts of money you have, the large house and all the power you have. You have a good heart as well. When people go to you with problems, you listen and try to help. You will go through the fires of hell for the important ones in your life. Iruka said after a short pause. You also adore her daughter, and that is a big plus in your favor. My advice is go for her. Naruto excused himself and went out to meet more people. Suonde wanted to meet her great-granddaughter. She could not meet her the other day. She signed the paperwork and left to get to work. Little did Naruto know, but 3 other people had heard his conversation. One was Anko, one was Rose, and the other was Kurenai. Kurenai had a hard time sleeping. She really enjoyed spending time with Naruto. She knew that he was a very handsome man and one of the most sought-after men in the village. Someone once got the idea of setting up a tournament. The winner got to marry Naruto. Suonde put that idea down fast. Kurenai laughed at the memory, it was very funny. A few women were sent to the hospital. One was still in it. She knew that she always found Naruto to be cute, but now he was hot and she was attached to him, of that she had not doubt. After last night she knew she was falling for him, but she never figured he would go for her. He had all that she was looking for in a partner. He had a big heart and was able to forgive. He had a kind smile that could put anyone at ease. She felt that no one would want her with all the baggage she had. She had a few things she needed to take care of, so she got up and ready for the day. Rose got up and was really happy to learn that she would be staying with Naruto, or Uncle Naruto as she called him. First, Kurenai made a change to her will. She made Naruto the guardian of Rose should she pass away on a mission. She knew it was a rash choice, but she knew it was the right one. In her heart it was the right choice. Kurenai could not stop thinking about Naruto. She was really confused about her feelings for the blonde-haired ninja. She needed to talk to someone. Saunde was out since Kurenai did not want to admit to her leader that she might be falling for her son or grandson. She was downright terrified of telling her that. Shizune was out since she would tell Saunde. She knew who she should ask but was afraid to ask. The person she knew she should ask saw Naruto like a little brother. She was Anko. Before the war, Anko started to date Iruka. Naruto wrote Iruka while on his training trip. In one letter he told his former teacher that he should ask Anko on a date. Iruka did, and the couple hit it off very well. Before the war the two were married. Iruka saw Naruto as a little brother. Once Anko learned that it was Naruto that made Iruka ask her on a date, she became fond of him. Anko started to see the blonde one as a little brother. She became the big sister, and she took the role of protective big sister very seriously. So much so that many people that insulted her little brother or had any intention of harming him meet with a lot of pain. One guy found out just how many snakes Anko could summon. Kurenai wondered how Anko would act knowing she had a niece now. Kurenai decided to find Anko later and ask for her advice. She took Rose and spent the day with her. She liked spending a lot of time with Rose before a big mission in case she did not come back. While they were out playing, Kurenai told Rose, "As you know, you will be staying with Uncle Naruto. I want you to be good for him. I also gave him permission to teach you the ways of the ninja." Rose was really happy to hear that, for it was her dream to be a ninja. Kurenai was afraid of losing her daughter, which is why she did not want her daughter to become a ninja. However, she realized last night talking with Naruto that it was in Rose's blood. Both of her birth parents were ninjas, so it was natural. They did not have to find Anko, for she found them instead. Anko had a look of pure joy on her face. Usually she had that look when she got to torture someone. Anko said, "I can't believe it, I have a niece. I can't wait to meet her. I also can't believe you had a date with my little brother and did not ask me first." Kurenai at the last comment blushed bright red and said, "It was not a date. I was just thanking him for saving me and Rose." Anko said, "I know I am just messing with you. However, the blush on your face says to me that you are attracted to my little brother. Now, as an overprotective big sister, I must make sure of your intentions with my little brother." "So what are they?" Kurenai said. "That is what I want to talk to you about. The truth is, you are right, I am attracted to him. What single woman is not? However, I got the chance to talk to him last night and to learn more about him. I want to date him, but..." Anko could tell her friend was nervous. So she said gently, more gentle than anyone would expect from her. "What is troubling you?" Kurenai answered. "I want to date him and see if anything can come from it, but why would he want to date me? Plus I am afraid of 3 people and one is dead." Anko said, "Well, about me hurt my brother and you will not see the next day. Suonde the same thing, expect it will hurt more." "Who is the other?" Kurenai said. His mother, you know what she was like. If I piss her off she can hurt me from the grave. Anko said. All good points, but here is my advice, think about it while on the mission if you can. If you like the idea, then ask him on date. I would say wait for him, but even if he does want to date you he will not. Hinata hurt him too much. Anko took a pause before saying, I think he has given up on finding love. The trio then went to get some lunch. They ended up being near the same place that Naruto and Iruka and Amber were having lunch, so they heard everything that was said by Naruto. Kurenai watched him walk out, and once he left she sat down with Anko and Iruka and Rose and started to softly cry. She said in between tears, he called my beautiful. No man has ever said that about me and meant it or wanted something for me. Anko said, so does that answer your question, my friend? Kurenai says, yes it does, and I know what I need to do. Come on Rose, let us go find Uncle Naruto. The mother and daughter pair left to find the blonde-haired ninja. Iruka said, do you think they will get together? Anko said, yes, the question I have is will they stay together? I swear if she hurts him I will kill her. Irka knew his wife was serious. Anko said, so tell me about our niece. Irka did long into the afternoon. Naruto and Rose went around the village visiting people that were friends of Naruto. Ino had made sure that everyone knew of Naruto adopting Amber. All of his friends congratulated him and offered to help out if it was needed. Now it was time for Amber to meet Suande. Amber heard of the great Hokage and respected her. Both Naruto and Suande were Amber's heroes. So it made the little girl really happy to know they were her family now. She was a little nervous about meeting Suande, but her daddy put her mind at ease. Amber was really happy that she had a home now. She was scared to go to sleep last night. She was afraid she would wake up and it would all be a dream, a really good dream, but a dream nonetheless. She said to her daddy before they got to Suade's office. Thank you, Naruto said. For what? Amber hugged him tightly and said, thank you for adopting me and making me your daughter and for giving me a home. Naruto hugged her back and said, I am only sorry I did not do it sooner. Naruto took her hand and the two walked to the tower. The two get into the Hokage's office. At once Amber bows to Tsunade. Tsunade pulls her granddaughter into a hug and says, now I will have none of this bowing for my family. Tsunade did the scan one more time. She was paranoid when it came to her family. Tsunade said, Amber, should you need help and your daddy can't help you, I will always be glad to help you, little one. After talking for a while, Amber hugged her and said, I will see you later, Grandma. I love you. The two then left and Tsunade cried. She finally had family. She only wished she had not wasted so much time. However, she vowed she would be there for her granddaughter. She said, Kushina, you would be proud of your son. I only wish you could see him now and your granddaughter. Up above watching with Kurama and Kami was Kushina, and she was indeed proud of her son. Okay, so I got a flame that was very funny. It said one word and that was terrible. Now I don't mind flames. However, if you flame me, be ready to back up the flame. I need help with my wiring skills and this helps to do it. So if you flame me, then back it up. Do not just put one word. I own nothing. Kurenai was looking for Naruto and was having a hard time finding him. She spent a good 3 hours looking for him. After a while, Rose said, Mommy, Lighting said she can find him. Kurenai gave the fox the evil eye before she said, why did you not tell me this? Lighting gave a very Naruto-like grin when she said, you never asked. Kurenai said, you are sounding and looking like Naruto. Lighting said, I will take that as a compliment. We foxes like to have fun and play pranks. Even in our world, Naruto's pranks are legendary. Now he has just left the Hokage Tower and is heading to his house. The three made it to Naruto's house just as he and Amber got home. Naruto said, hello Kurenai, is everything okay? Do you need to leave sooner? Kurenai said, no, I am still leaving. At the same time, I need to talk to you. It is a little personal. Naruto said, well, I am about to make dinner. The girls can play if they want and you two can stay for dinner if you want. The two said girls ran inside the house. Amber led Rose to her room and they started to play with the toys. They really loved the dollhouse and the castle. The dollhouse had dolls and furniture. In many ways it had more stuff than Naruto did growing up. The castle also had stuff going with it. In all, it was very nice stuff to play with. Naruto went into the kitchen to start dinner. Kurenai was watching him cook and was amazed at it. Naruto seemed so natural at it. After a few minutes, Naruto said, so what do you need to talk about? Kurenai said, I heard what you said at the restaurant. Did you mean it? Naruto blushed and said, yes, I meant every word of it. Kurenai said, so you think I am beautiful? Naruto said, no, I know you are beautiful inside and out. Talking with you last night I saw that. Kurenai asked, were you ever going to ask me on a date? Naruto said, I am not sure. I am scared about dating right now. I like you and want to see if anything can form between us, but I am scared. Kurenai took his hands and said, you are not the only one that is scared. I am scared as well. Let us be scared together. Naruto smiled and said, after you get back will you go on a date with me? Kurenai smiled and said, that would make me happy. Naruto said with a lot of nervousness in his voice, may I please kiss you now? Kurenai was shocked, but she got over it really fast. She said with a bright smile on her face, yes please. So Naruto pulled her into a kiss. It was short but both felt a spark. Both felt wonderful after getting the kiss. The two adults did not know that Amber and Rose had seen the kiss. Right now they were in Amber's room. Rose said, I hope it means what I think it means. Amber said, only time will tell. Who knows, maybe we will be sisters someday. Rose said, yes maybe, but I think for now we should keep it a secret that we saw them kissing. Amber said, I agree, and if they need help we should help them. Daddy needs a wife. Rose said, I want mommy to be happy. So the two little girls agreed that they would not interfere with the relationship of the parents. Dinner was served and everyone loved it. Kurenai already had her mission gear ready. She also had Rose's stuff ready and brought it over to Naruto's house. She did not want to leave Naruto right now. After dinner the girls went to play before bedtime. Kurenai tucked Rose into bed. She said, I will be gone when you wake up. So be good and I will be back. I love you, my little flower. Kurenai knew the nickname was lame, but she still used it. Rose hugged her mother and said, I will be a good girl, mommy. Please come back soon. I love you too. Kurenai and Naruto stayed up a little bit. Kurenai said, Naruto, this morning I made a change to my will. I left you as Rose's guardian. Naruto said, in the unlikely event you die I will watch out for her. I will raise her as if she is my own. Kurenai said, I know that is why I did it. I am sorry for not asking you first. It just seemed like the right thing to do. Naruto pulled her into a hug. Naruto tried to end the hug, but Kurenai said, please hold me tonight. I have never felt like this, being held by someone. Please hold me. Naruto, not wanting to upset the one he cared about, did just that. The two shared one more kiss. Naruto was about to get up and go to bed when he was stopped by Kurenai. She said, don't move, I want to use you as a pillow. Please don't get up. Hold on to your girlfriend. Naruto smiled and kissed her one more time before saying, as long as you want me to hold on I will always hold on to you. After one last kiss Kurenai put her head on his chest and fell asleep. This was the first time in over 6 years that sleep was easy for her. Naruto stayed up a little longer. Like Kurenai, he felt safe and happy. He felt safe when she was in his arms. Like her, this was the first time sleep was easy for him. Unlike her, it was the one of the first times in his whole life that sleep was easy for him. Last night as he held Amber was one as well. Up above, Kurama was smirking. His plan was coming to pass. Kushina said, I want to thank you for what you have done for my son. Kurama said, everything bad in his life can be traced back to me. It was the least I could do. Kushina said, okay, but something he always says. Do not worry about the past, only the present and the future. Besides, there is another reason I was your host once. Kurama said, true, I do respect him. He never once cracked and thought about hurting the village. You did many times, yet he never did. He needs someone by his side. She is the perfect one for that. Kushina said, I agree, but we have a little bit of time before that happens. I can't wait to talk to her. Kurama was not sure if the talk was going to be violent. With Kushina it could go either way. Kurama was a little nervous about this. Kushina said, don't worry my friend, I won't hurt her. I agree with you that she is the best choice as his wife. She can keep him in line, no one else can. Not even his grandmother can keep him in line. I only wish I could see my granddaughter, she is so cute. They heard a figure say, I agree she is, and I am glad Naruto is watching over her. Looking up they see a woman that looks like an older version of Amber. She was called Sally. She was killed in the final battle. Her husband was still alive and he was the one that hurt her daughter. She said, I am glad she is safe and sound. Thank you for looking after her. I am also sorry, Lord Kurama. You see, Sally was one of the many people that hurt Naruto when he was younger. She did not miss the irony at all. My readers, have you missed it? Kurama said. Thank you, but it is Naruto you need to apologize to. He is the one you hurt. Yes, he does know that he adopted the daughter of one of his abusers. Sally said. Then I shall do that. Naruto was asleep. Often when he was sleeping he was in his mindscape. After a while someone appeared before him. She was an older version of Amber and Naruto knew who she was. He said, "To what do I owe this visit? Here to hurt me for adopting your daughter? Here to get revenge against the demon?" Sally looked down in shame. The worst part was that he had no malice in his voice. That part scared Sally more than anything she had ever seen. Sally bowed and said, "I am here a few reasons. The first is the thank you for taking care of my daughter and for giving her a home." She took a pause and got all the way on the ground and bowed once more before saying, "I am sorry for all that I have done to you. I am sorry for all that I said to you and about you. After Amber was born I saw the truth of what I did. I know words will never make up for what I have done, but I am sorry." Naruto long ago learned to read people's faces so he could tell if someone was lying to him. He knew that Sally was not lying to him. He said, "Forget about it. The past is done with, let it stay there. Is there anything I need to know about Amber?" Sally smiled and said, "Her birth father is the one that beat her and he is still alive. Please do not let him take her." Naruto promised that he would not. Sally hugged Naruto and then faded away. The next morning Naruto woke up when Kurenai left to go on her mission. He said, "By the way, I forgot to mention that one of my sisters has bonded with you." Kurenai said with a look of shock on her face. "Really, who?" Ice jumped on her shoulder and said, "That would be me. Now let us go, we got a mission to do." Kurenai kissed Naruto before she left. Both felt the spark form the kiss and both felt great. Kurenai was well rested since she had not slept that well in years. She was ready for her mission. She made it to the village gate and left to do her mission. It was a simple one but would take time. She now had two things or two people to return home to. Actual three if she counted Amber. Rose and Amber woke up to the smell of food cooking. Both girls got dressed and ready for the day and rushed downstairs to get the food. Naruto watched the two girls carefully. Amber was doing a lot better. She did not have the fear in her eyes that she had yesterday morning. She had accepted that she had a home for life. Rose on the other hand was not looking well. She was barely holding on. Naruto knew that it would not take much for her to break. Naruto hugged her and that made her break down. Amber joined in the hug when her friend started to cry. Naruto whispered softly in her ear, "Let it out, let it all out. We are here for you. It is okay to cry. No one will be upset with you." Rose did just that. After a good hour she was done crying. She had fallen asleep from crying so much and so hard. Naruto had a guess as to what was making her feel this way. He could not help her unless she admitted it. He was unsure if Rose would admit what was scaring her or how long it would take. There was a knock on the door. Naruto carefully with Rose in his arms got up and answered it. Standing there was Anko. She says, "So I want to meet my niece, and why did you not introduce me to her yet?" Naruto said, "To be honest, I was not sure she is ready to meet you yet. You can be scary at times, sis." Anko said, "Cut someone's check and drank their blood one time and you are labeled crazy for life." Anko noticed that did not get a reaction out of Naruto. Not even a small smile. Anko finally saw the girl up close. Amber said, "It is nice to meet you, Auntie Anko." Anko was shocked that the girl knew who she was. Amber said, "Rose told me about you. She said that you saw Daddy as a little brother. She said you could be scary but you would never harm me or let anyone else harm me." Anko smiled and said, "You are right, I will not harm you nor will I let anyone else harm you." It was then that Anko noticed for the first time the position of Rose. She beat herself up for not noticing that right away. Naruto answered the unasked question but the one he knew was going to be asked anyway. She woke up this morning and broke down crying hard for an hour. She then passed out. Anko said, "Why, what is wrong?" Naruto said, "Amber, go and play please, I will call you when we leave, okay?" Amber asked with a lot of concern on her face. "Is Rose going to be okay?" Naruto said, "It will not be easy but she will be okay. She will need your help. Be there for her and let her know you are her friend. A simple hug can help out a lot in this case." Amber hugged her father and went to play in her room. Naruto said, "I suspect that she is scared, plain and simple." Anko said, "I never noticed her being scared before." Naruto said, "Then it means that Kurenai made the right choice in allowing her to be a ninja." Anko was shocked by that and she let it be known in her voice. She allowed her daughter to be a ninja. Naruto said. Yes, she even asked me to teach Rose. Anko said. Wow, times have changed, but you are right, if she can hide her feelings so well then she will make a great ninja. Now on to the point, why is she scared? Also, why have you not put her down on a bed? Naruto said. I have not put her on a bed since when she wakes up she will be more scared if she is not near someone. What are all children of single parents that happen to be ninjas afraid of? Anko thought about it before saying. She is afraid Kurenai will not come back alive. The two heard a voice say with a lot of sadness laced into. I am afraid I will be alone if mommy dies. Naruto said. You will never be alone. Your mommy made me your guardian should she die. I promise you if that happens I will adopt you and take care of you. He took a pause and pulled the younger girl into a hug before saying. You mom is one of the strongest I know. She will not die that easily. Rose said. Okay, at least I won't be alone. I am still scared. Naruto said. It is okay to be scared. Rose said. I thought a ninja could not show fear or emotions. Naruto said. Yes, you are correct about that point. However, that is on the battlefield. He had to take a pause to figure out how best to explain this. He said. At home and with friends it is okay to show fear and emotions. If you bury them then you will end up nothing more than a weapon. Naruto had called Amber down and she climbed onto his lap and cuddled with her father. He said, there is a guy the first know. His name is Sai. He used to not have any emotions at all. Everything he did was fake. After a while he started to show emotions, but until he did he was not well at all. He did not fit in. He told me that he did not feel like he was a person. He felt like a sword. Naruto took a pause before saying. So the bottom line is show emotions, do not bury them. At times as a ninja we have to harden our hearts, but they should not stay hardened or else we will not be human. I know that is a lot to take in. If you two still wish to be ninjas I will start to train you. The two little girls ran upstairs to Amber's room. Naruto went to check on them 10 minutes later and the two were asleep. Anko the whole time was shocked at what she heard out of Naruto's mouth. She did not know he was that deep. Anko said, Naruto, I will admit I had my doubts about you being a good father. However, they are all dead now. You are an amazing person and will make an even better father. Amber is lucky to have you as her father. Naruto smiled a true smile, one he had not had since the wedding. He said, no, I am lucky to have her as a daughter. I sense there is something else you want to ask, so what is it? Anko said, I was with Kurenai yesterday when we heard what you said. She then went looking for you. So how did it go? Naruto then told Anko what had happened and all that he felt. Anko smiled and said, I am happy for you. She is the right one for you. Just don't hurt her. Naruto said, I would never hurt her, I care about her too much. She called herself my girlfriend. I will never hurt my girlfriend. I am not saying I won't do something stupid. I am a guy after all. Anko hugged him and said, she will not do what the white-eyed bitch did. Give Kurenai a chance and you both will be happy. Naruto said, I know, I look forward to our date. Anko said, if you need someone to watch Amber I am all for it. Anko said, I don't want to ruin the happy moment. How come you have not talked with Sasuke much? Naruto said, once a thief always a thief. I don't trust him at all. If he hurts my sister I will rip his eyes out. If he hurts my daughter I will let the foxes rip him apart. Anko said, so I was right, you really don't want him around. Naruto said, I should have guessed you would have seen through my mask. My so-called friends did not. It gets me mad. After all he did and all the people he hurt and killed he got off without even a slap on wrist. He took a pause to control his anger before saying, if anyone else did that they would be put to death. If I even thought about leaving this village the hunter ninja would be sent after me before I could make it to the gate. Anko said, if it makes you feel better, Kurenai saw through the mask as well. I think on some level Amber sees through it as well. Naruto says, why is it after all the good I have done I still feel like I am struggling to have just a small piece of happiness? Is it so wrong for me to want to be happy? Anko asked, what about Sakura? Naruto said, she is too loyal to Sasuke. I don't trust her or him. Anko said, well, you got me, Iruka, your grandmother and Kurenai on your side plus all your friends and allies out of the village. Naruto said, it is wrong that all my friends are outside the village. Oh well, the girls are still asleep. I am going to let them sleep for now and I will start training tomorrow. Anko said, what are you going to teach them? Naruto answered, I am not going to teach them how to draw chakra right now. I will teach them more of the physical stuff. I am aiming mostly right now to get them stronger and able to do it. I want them to be kids for now. Anko did not ask, but she knew that Naruto wanted his daughter to have the childhood he never had. That was why he got her the toys. He never had any toys growing up. He vowed his daughter would not have that. Meanwhile, in the forest on the way to her mission, Kurenai had stopped for the night. I said, I did not say this before, but I think it is best to say it now. The small fox grew to the size of a large horse and got right in Kurenai's face before saying, if you hurt him in any way, shape or form, then we will feast on your flesh. Kurenai was a little shaken up by that. Okay, she was very much shaken up by that. She said after her heartbeat had returned to normal, I will not hurt him. I care about him too much. I have not known him long, but I feel like there is a connection with him. I think I may be in love with him. I said, I know you will not hurt him. It is my job as his sister to be protective. You thought Anko and I are scary. Don't piss off Midnight. When she is mad, even the nine-tailed fox is scared. Now let's get this mission done. Once more, I do not own Naruto. Naruto thought back to the last 3 weeks. Rose and Amber got up the next morning after the emotional roller coaster and they started to train. Naruto first wanted to test them out and see what he was working with. He knew they were young, but he had been surprised before, so it was better to get all the details he could first. So he had the girls do some push-ups and sit-ups and run laps. He also had them do punches and kicks. All in all, the girls did very well with the test. After that was over, he had them practice throwing kunai and shuriken and senbon. They had a hard time with the throwing weapons, and it took them the whole 3 weeks to get them even close to the target. As of right now, they could not hit the targets all the time. They could throw them, but the aim was bad. However, they were 4, so for 4-year-olds they did well. As the 3 weeks went by for the other exercises, the girls got better. At this point, they could each do 500 sit-ups and push-ups. They could run 7 laps around Naruto's house without stopping. Each lap was 1/4 of a mile. So they could almost run 2 miles non-stop. As for the punches and kicks, they could each do 150 without stopping. At the end of each day, the girls were exhausted. They did this routine for a week, and then Naruto switched it up. He made them do less exercise and focus more on the throwing weapons. He also taught them some of the fighting styles. He taught them a few basic combinations. They were still working on mastering them. Overall, Naruto was proud of the girls. He was really proud of Amber. Over the 3 weeks, the bond the two had only grew. It got to the point that both felt as if they always have been father and daughter. As for Rose, she still was worried about losing her mother, but she was happy to have Naruto in her life. She secretly hoped that someday he would be her daddy. The other thing that was different was the talk between Tsunade and Naruto. It was a shadow clone of Naruto, but that is beside the point. At first, the old fire shadow was not happy about the requests. She was not happy at all. However, Naruto was able to convince her. Flashback. Naruto, while he was training the girls, sent a clone to speak with Tsunade. Tsunade knew right away something was off with her son. She said very gently, "What is troubling you, Naruto?" Naruto sighed and said, "Boss has a few requests for you." Tsunade knew now she was speaking to a shadow clone. She asked, "Why not wait until I get home? For this part, the clone will be called Naruto. Since he is Naruto." Naruto said, "It is better this way. The first is we would like information on Amber's father. We want him watched to make sure that he does not try to harm Amber." Tsunade expected this and was happy to do it. To be truthful, she had already started. Amber may not be her granddaughter by birth, but the little girl had already warmed her way into the old lady's heart. She would never let anyone harm Amber. So it would be a very cold day in hell before Tsunade allowed Amber's birth father to have any contact with the girl. Tsunade said, "That is easy, I have already started that when he told me." "What is your next request?" Naruto said, "The next ones are going to be hard, but I ask that you please do it." This worried Tsunade greatly. She knew Naruto never did anything without reason, so she waited. In her mind, a lot of different ideals were going on. Each one was getting odder. However, his next words she never saw coming. Naruto said, "I would like it from now on if only you or Shizune give Amber a checkup. I do not want Sakura doing it." Tsunade was dumbfounded. Her first instinct was to yell and ask him what the hell. However, after the war she stopped yelling so much. She waited to hear him out. So instead she asked, "Why? I thought she was your friend." Naruto said, "She is a friend, I will not deny that. However, I don't trust Sasuke." Saunde said with some anger laced in her voice. However, the anger was overshadowed by confusion. "Okay, I can accept that, but why not Sakura? She will never harm a child," Naruto said without missing a beat and without any emotion at all in his voice. "If Sasuke tells her to, she will. I have seen it in her eyes. She is way too loyal to him. She will do anything he tells her to do. Her hair is so short since he ordered her to cut it." Naruto took a pause before saying, "As to why she did it yesterday, I had no choice." Saunde could not argue what he said since it was true. She said, "So you think Sasuke might harm Amber? I thought you had forgiven him and made peace with him," Naruto said. "I have. That does not mean I trust him at all. I don't trust him to not try and hurt my family. As long as Sakura is married to him, I do not want her dealing with my daughter in any medical setting and unless it is absolutely necessary." Saunde asked, "Why don't you trust him?" Naruto said, "Once a snake, always a snake. He got no punishment at all. He was given everything on a golden platter after all the crimes he had committed. After all the people he hurt and killed. It is like they did not matter. I know for many people on the council it does not." Saunde now understood it from her son's point of view. She knew he was not jealously, he was angry. To be truthful, Suande was just as angry, and she agreed with Naruto. She did not trust Sasuke at all. She said, "It will not be easy, but I agree and it shall be done." "What is your next request?" Naruto said, "This is the last one. In a few months I wish to speak to the council. I have a way to honor Neji's last wish. I vowed to him that I would see it happen." Saunde, knowing what he was talking about, just nodded her head and said, "Okay, whenever you want to speak I will give you the floor." "You know it will cause more problems, right?" Naruto said. "Yes, I do, and part of me is hoping for it." The clone dispelled itself, giving the memories back to Naruto. End flashback. Rose was really happy since she knew her mommy would be home soon. All the foxes could speak to each other. They had a mental link when they were on Earth. So Ice had informed Midnight that the two were on the way. Rose was looking forward to it. Kurenai and Ice were about 2 miles from the village. Ice said, "I must say that was a fun mission. I never knew grown men could cry like that." The mission was a teaching one. She had to teach people how to teach genjutsu. Some of the guys that she met would hit on her. She ignored them since she had a boyfriend at home. She smiled when she thought boyfriend. The part that got her really mad was when one guy tried to kiss her and then feel her up. Let's just say Kurenai showed way. She was the mistress of genjutsu. She kept the guy trapped for 2 weeks. Ice said, "So I would like to ask. I will not hurt you this time. How are you feeling about a relationship with Naruto now that you have had 3 weeks to think about it?" Kurenai said without any hesitation, "I am happy. I want this relationship to work. I feel something with him I have never felt with anyone before." Ice said, "Naruto is our master. He rather is call him brother since he hates the ideal of master and servant. We the foxes would gladly accept you as our mistress or sister. Our boss even likes you." Kurenai asked, "Who is the boss?" Ice smirked a very Naruto smirk and said, "I am sure you can figure it out." Kurenai did, and after a few minutes she said, "So Naruto can summon the 9-tailed fox?" Ice said, "Yes, his name is Kurama and he is a nice guy unless you piss him off." Kurenai was getting nervous, but she was not going to break off the relationship with Naruto. Picking up her speed, she ran to the village and gave her report. Saunde said, "Well, I am glad to see you back. So how did it go? I heard about the trapping a gay in his nightmares. What did he do?" Kurenai said, "I told him I was not interested and I have a boyfriend." Both are true statements. So when he tried to force himself on me, I took action. Suande said, "I was not aware you were seeing anyone. It is not my business, but may I ask who it is?" Kurenai smiled very nervously and said, "It is Naruto. Our first date is set for when I get back." She took a pause before saying, "Hopefully he will agree to have it tomorrow night since I wish to spend some time with Rose." Saunde said, "He will agree now. I am sure you have been threatened by the foxes and Anko. To be honest, I am not sure who scares me more. Now it is time for my threat. I will see you die a most painful way if you hurt him." Kurenai said, "I do not know if the relationship will work. I promise if it does not work I will let him down gently. I will not do what my former student did." Saunde said, "I know, but as his mother or grandmother it is my right to threaten you." Be happy it is me and not Kushina. I remember she said she was looking forward to using the rite of battle. Kurenai started to get really worried. In some clans the mother had the right to battle the woman her son wished to marry or in some cases date. In Naruto's clan's case this was true. Kurenai asked, "If we were to marry would you invoke that?" Saunde said, "Most likely not only if I had any doubts at all. At this moment I do have doubts. I have a lot of doubts. I hope if that time comes my doubts will be put to rest." She took a pause before saying, "I like you Kurenai and I feel that Kushina would have liked you as well. However I saw him after Hinata's words and it was not pretty. That was why I allowed the adoption to occur. Being with Amber has brought him out. I do not want to lose him again." The old fire shadow said after a short pause. "Amber has made him the Naruto he is without the stupid mask we have all seen." She took a pause before saying, "I know this is somewhat selfish on my side but I already lost most of the people I care about. I won't lose the last few I have." Kurenai nodded her head that she understood. Suande changed from her serious and slightly depressed tone to her happy one as she said, "Now go, your daughter misses you and will be happy to see you back. Naruto is happy as well. You are all he has talked about besides Amber." The last statement caused the former Ice Queen to blush. Suande said, "Oh, by the way, in case he forgets to tell you, Naruto made your Amber's guardian should he pass away on a mission. If you are not okay with it let me know and I shall change the will." Kurenai said, "No, I am okay with it. In fact I am very okay with it. I hope it never happens but I am okay with it." Kurenai and Ice went to Naruto's house. As Kurenai gets to the house she is tackled by her daughter. She said, "I am really happy to see you mommy." Rose then fell asleep in her mom's arms. She was very tired. She had been pushing herself too hard again. Kurenai asked Naruto who had followed Rose out, "Why is she so tired?" Naruto said, "She has been pushing herself too much, way too much. She was scared that you would not come back. Training has kept her mind off of missing you." Kurenai understood that but she was confused. "How come I never noticed her fear before?" Naruto said, "She was able to hide it well. I also think it only hits her when you are actual gone. She knows you are going to mission but only gets scared once the mission starts and you are gone." Naruto then explained all that had happened during the 3 weeks with Kurenai's daughter. Kurenai asked after it was done said, "So it seems she has been doing pretty well for a 4-year-old. Naruto smiled and said, "Yes, she has. You would be proud of her. Now I am guessing you wish to get her home so I shall let you go." Kurenai said, "I really don't want to walk home tonight, I am tired." Naruto said, "If you wish you can stay here and I can make you some dinner if you wish." Kurenai really liked that thought. She kissed Naruto to let him know how much she liked that ideal. That and she wanted to kiss him once more. She went inside and gently put Rose to bed. Rose had stayed up late waiting for her mother. Amber was already in bed. Naruto made Kurenai some food and she happily ate it. Naruto then messaged her shoulders. Kurenai would have used him as a pillow again. She missed that on her mission. Sadly there was a knock on the door. An Anbu came in and told Naruto then he was needed at the Hokage tower. Kurenai said she would stay and watch Amber. Naruto got to the tower and was met by Suande. She said, "I am sorry Naruto but you are needed. A client has asked for you and the situation is dire. A lot of children have been kidnapped from Spring or Snow Country. Their daimyo Koyuki has asked for you and you alone." Naruto said, "She would never ask unless it was important, so give me an hour and I will leave." With a yellow flash he was back home. Kurenai had only known Naruto a short time but she could tell that her boyfriend was nervous. Before she could ask he said, "In the land of Spring some children have been kidnapped and the daimyo is asking for my help." Kurenai said, "I will watch Amber until you get back." Naruto smiled and gently kissed her. He then woke up Amber. He did not want to leave without telling her goodbye. Amber knew something was wrong when her daddy woke her up, she could tell. Naruto said, "My angel, I have been called on a mission. Some children have been kidnapped and I need to rescue them." Amber said very calmly, "Okay daddy, I love you, please be safe." She picked up a bracelet she made. She took it and gave it to her daddy and said, "Please wear this daddy and please be safe. I made this for you for good luck on your missions." Naruto hugged her very closely and said, "I promise I will come back my angel. I love you and I will be safe. Be good for Auntie Kurenai and Auntie Anko and Grandma." With one more hug from his daughter and a kiss from his girlfriend he was off into the night. It was a long run to Spring Country. It would take him at least 2 days to get to the port and a few more to get to the country itself. He only hoped he was not too late to save the children. I will be adding a second wife but later in the story. By later I mean in a few chapters. You will meet her in this chapter. After Naruto left on his mission, Amber said in a voice that was both scared but also accepting. "Auntie, please hold me tonight?" Kurenai did not have the heart to tell the little girl no. So she picked up Amber and picked up Rose. She then went to the bed and pulled both girls to her and the two fell asleep. Kurenai was able to fall asleep so fast since she was very tired, and the bed she used was Naruto's and it had his scent on it. It brought her peace. The next morning the three got up and Kurenai made food for the girls. Saunde was there. She hugged Amber and said, "If you need me then come to my office and stay with me. Your daddy will come back." Saunde left, and once she did, Amber broke down crying and she cried hard. Kurenai did the only thing she could do, and that was to hold the girl close to her. In between sobs, Amber mentioned how she was scared that her daddy would not come back. Kurenai said after an hour and the girl had stopped crying, "Your daddy will come back. He has gone on many dangerous missions and each and every one he has come back alive. That was before he adopted you and he had nothing to come home to." Kurenai took a pause before saying, "Now he has you, which means he will fight harder." This made Amber feel a lot better. She said, "Can you tell me a story about daddy?" Kurenai pulled Rose to her and told a few stories well into the afternoon and night. Kurenai ordered some takeout and the girls had food and went to bed. Ruby had grown to a bigger size and curled up with Amber, covering the little girl with her tail. Suande got home that night and asked how Amber was. Kurenai said, "As soon as you left she started to cry." Kurenai then told everything that had happened. Sudni said, "Well, you have earned more points in my book. She is strong just like her dad." Kurenai said, "Yes, I agree, she will be a great ninja someday." She took a pause and gathered up all the courage she had in her. She said, "Naruto's greatest wish is to have a family of his own. He wants a wife with kids. I will be honest. At this point I could see myself as his wife. However, after the final battle I was told that there might be a chance that I could not have kids. Can you please do a test to see if that is true? I will pay for it." It had been 6 days since Naruto left the village and he had finally made it to Spring Country. The whole time he did not speak unless he needed to. After getting off the dock he ran with Midnight to the castle of Koyuki. She had helped the Leaf village recover after the war. She sent medics and other supplies to aid in the war effort. She had not ninja descent, so she sent what she could. Koyuki was not happy. She had gotten word from a group of bandits, terrorists that threatened to kill children if she did not leave the country. In all, 50 children's lives were in the balance. No one in her country wanted her gone. They all wanted her as their leader. She called the one person that she knew would not fail in getting the children back. She called the man she respected and loved. She called Naruto. Yes, you read right, she loved Naruto with all her heart. She had gotten word of the adoption and was asked if she would provide support for it in case Naruto was challenged. She did not hesitate at all. She was waiting in her throne room when a guard came up to her and bowed. He said, "My Princess Naruto and a small black fox are here." Koyuki said, "Well then let him in already so he can go and help the children." Naruto came in. He did not bow since it was not needed. The last time he bowed before Koyuki, she smacked him on the head and told him to never bow to her again. Koyuki said, "I am glad you are here, my friend. You know what has occurred, when can you get started?" Naruto said, "I need something from one of the kids, do you have anything like that?" A guard walked up and pulled out a doll from his jacket and said, "Lord Naruto, this is my daughter's favorite doll." Midnight started to sniff it and she said, "They are 10 miles from here." Naruto then started to do hand signs, and once he was done he slammed his hands on the ground and shouted, "Summoning massive fox army." A puff of smoke was seen and about 50 foxes were all there. Without a word, Naruto and his foxes ran to get the children. The same guard that gave the doll said, "My princess, I am sorry to be rude, but we need an army to get the children back." Koyuki smiled and said, "I just sent one. Thanks to Omega Archer for that line," she said in her head after he left. "Be careful, Naruto." Naruto and the foxes were on a mission. The foxes were what humans would call demons. However, there were some things that to them were unforgivable. Rape was one of them. If anyone in their clan had committed that crime, they were put to death without any thought. The other was child abuse or hurting children in any shape or form. So for over 50 children to have been kidnapped and taken hostage was making their blood boil. After about 2 hours they got to the camp. It was set up very nicely and Naruto was a little more nervous. This was not some random weak bandits. Well, he thought many of them are most likely weak, they must have a good leader. The camp was set up in such a way that there was only one entrance and it was heavily watched and guarded. Naruto said, "Shadow, please come here, I have need of your talents." A small black fox appeared before her brother. She was lighter colored than Midnight but she was still black. She was very fast and the one that had the best stealth in the clan. If she wanted to she could hide right in front of your face and you would still not see her. She did that a few times to mess with people. She jumped on her brother's shoulder and said, "Should I do the usual?" Naruto said, "That is why I asked for your help." With a smirk she was off. Midnight said, "I think she enjoys her job a little too much." Naruto laughed and said, "There is no think sis, she does enjoy it a little too much." They heard a voice say, "So I enjoy my job, at least I am not like Anko who enjoys making grown men cry like little girls." Shadow had returned. The other foxes all gathered around. A few stood guard but were listening to what Shadow was going to say. She said, "Okay, I found all the children. They are all in a large cage, a really large cage. The good news is that I could not find any signs of any child being killed." All the others were happy to hear that news. Shadow said, "Okay, the bad news is there are over 300 bandits. 30 of them are ninjas. None of them are of any importance at all. The highest ranking is on the same level as Kiba was during your fight in the exams, brother." Naruto said, "Okay, here is what we do. Midnight, please go back and get some medics. We will await your return. Once then I want the children to go to sleep so they do not witness what will happen. Then the rest we will give the bandits time to surrender peacefully. If they do not, then we kill them." Another 4 hours went by before Midnight returned with the medics. Naruto during this time had made a plan. There were 10 medics and all of them were good. All of them knew Naruto and were at the final battle healing the wounded. All 10 respected Naruto, so they all listened to what he had to say without question. Naruto had 10 foxes stay with the medics. The thought was if they needed to leave in a hurry, then the foxes would be able to teleport out of the battlefield. Naruto had the other foxes go and hide. Midnight was on his shoulders and the two started to walk to the camp. Naruto said to the ones on guard duty, "I wish to speak to the leader. Now I know everyone is thinking that he has lost his mind." However, this was Naruto and he knew what he was doing. His sisters at this point did not even question his mental process anymore. They just went with whatever he said. Naruto had mastered the fox's sage mode really fast. Much faster than he mastered the toad's sage mode. Plus he looked so much cooler as the fox sage. He would even go far as to say he looked really handsome. He wondered if Kurenai would think that. The leader came up to Naruto. He was a very tall man, about 6 feet. He did tower over Naruto. He had long brown hair and brown eyes. He had some scars over his face. He had a headband with the Cloud Village symbol on it. This one had a scratch going through the symbol marking this guy as a missing ninja. The leader said, "Well, if it is not the war hero, what do you want?" Naruto smiled and said, "Well, I was hoping you would let the children go. If you do, I will not wipe out you and your forces." This caused the 300 bandits to laugh. Naruto said, "Did I miss a funny joke? You know it is not nice to leave people out of jokes. It is considered to be rude." The leader said, "You are outnumbered, we can kill you and then we will be famous beyond all reason." Midnight said, "Phase 1 is complete, all the children are asleep, they will not see what is about to happen." The leader was confused, so Naruto, being the nice guy he is, said, "I did not want to cause the children nightmares, so I had them take a nap. Now it is time for you all to die. I gave you fair warning." He drew his sword and made the come hither gesture. 5 guys ran up to him. He dodged all 5 of their blades and slashed them all. All 5 were dead before they hit the ground. He said, "Really, is that all you got? I am very bored." This only served to enrage the bandits. The foxes were having a great time. Some of the bandits thought they would have an easy time if they attacked the foxes. That was a big mistake. Unlike other summoned animals, these foxes knew how to battle and were very good at it. Their claws soon ended many lives. After about 5 minutes, only 15 were left alive. Naruto then said to the leader, "Now since I am a nice guy and all, I will give you one more chance. Surrender and I will spare your lives. Needless to say, he wasted his time saying his words. He said to his sisters, "Get the children to the medics, this will not take long." Each of the foxes grew to the size of a horse and gently picked up a child with their tails and brought them over to the medics. The bandits tired to stop the foxes, but Naruto stopped them. He said very calmly, "Your fight is with me. If you want them, you have to get past me." The bandits all charged thinking they could get Naruto. In their minds 15 to 1 were good odds. How sad, Naruto thought. With his sword he slashed at all of them and all fell to the ground dead. He then sealed up the bodies of all the bandits. Many of them had bounties and he could use the money to get something nice for his loved ones. Naruto returned to the medics. One of them insisted that he check on Naruto. Naruto of course was fine. He said, "Okay, I am fine, my sisters are fine. Now how about the children, how are they?" The lead medic said, "They are okay, none of them have been hurt at all. They have been well fed and taken care of." Naruto said, "Okay, then let's go back and reunite all the children with their parents." It took the whole group another 3 hours to get back to the castle. Koyuki had gotten the parents to come to the castle. She had faith that Naruto would succeed. She got word from her troops that a small army of foxes were coming with the children. All the children woke up and were reunited with their parents. This made Naruto smile and made him think of Amber. He wanted to leave right away. However, he was forbidden from using the flying thunder god unless it was necessary. Koyuki told him she would have her fastest boat ready in the morning. So he was forced to stay. He was given food by Koyuki and the two just talked. She said, "So when can I meet your daughter?" Naruto said, "Well, she really wants to meet you. She is a huge fan of your movies." After that the two went to bed after talking some more about useless stuff. The morning he left, Koyuki hugged him and said, "I know you have a girlfriend right now since you talked so much about her last night." She took a pause before saying, "However, if it does not work out, I will gladly be your wife and give you what you want. Also, if you or your family ever need a home, you will always have it in spring." She hugged him and he left to go home. He made the trip home in the same time it took. The whole time he thought about Koyuki and what she offered. However, once he got home he forgot about the first offer. He only thought about the protection for his family. He had some gifts for his daughter and girlfriend's daughter. Kurenai thought back to the last week. She got a chance to get to know Amber a little better. She really liked the little girl and wondered what it would be like if she was Amber's mother. She also got to spend more quality time with her daughter. Ninja training was doing wonders for that. Naruto had left detailed notes on what he had done, so it was easy to continue with the training. They got word from Ice that Naruto was about 6 hours away and closing in. Kurenai thought back to a conversation she had 6 days ago. It was one that changed her life and made her very happy. It was with Tsunade and it had to do with Kurenai and her having more children of her own. Flashback. Kurenai had just put the girls to bed. They shared a room. It was not due to lack of rooms. They were in Naruto's house and there were a lot of rooms. The reason was the girls liked being in the same room. It brought them some peace that they needed. Kurenai told the girls a bedtime story. However, she was nowhere near as good as Naruto was at it. He seemed to have talent for telling stories. Kurenai went to drink some tea. She found it odd that she did not miss her old place. She liked living in Naruto's house. It felt like home. When he got back she was going to see about moving in. She knows that it is very fast, but it just felt right. Suande came home from being in the office. She had news for Kurenai. She said, "Well, I have some news for you. I ran the test 7 times. Each time I got the same results. Kurenai, the medic that examined you after the battle, was wrong. He or she was so very wrong it is not funny." The old fire shadow took a pause to catch her breath before saying, "You are fertile, no actual you are very fertile. I have seen and done this test 1,000 times. However, I have never, and I mean never, seen a woman that is as fertile as you are." Kurenai smiled and bowed her head and said, "Thank you for doing this test. How much do I owe you?" Tsunade said, "You owe me nothing. If you do marry Naruto and give him kids, make sure I have access to them. By the way, if you were unable to have children, Naruto would have still married you if he loved you. You too could have adopted." Kurenai said, "I know, but I can't explain why I wanted to know. I just don't understand how it is possible. I was hurt pretty badly and was told that." Suande said, "I have only one thought. Someone up above is looking after you and Naruto." She took a pause before saying, If you two should marry, I will not battle you. I have no more doubts, Kurenai. I see that you love him, even if you do not know what you feel. Tsunade said. One more thing, it is about Sakura and the others in his group. Kurenai said. I know he does not trust them, so he does not want Amber around them if it can be prevented. He also does not want Sakura dealing with Amber in any medical way unless her life is in danger. Saunde was in shock that Kurenai knew this. The red-eyed one smiled and said, we talked about it before I left. He asked my advice on doing what he did. I agreed with him. That group needs to earn trust. I don't trust any of them, that is why I don't let them near Rose. End flashback. Kurenai was really happy to hear that Naruto was on his way home. She was also happy to hear that she could have more children if she wanted. The girls were tired, so she put them to bed. She stayed up to wait for her boyfriend. Up above, a few figures were watching. Kurama was also speaking to Kami, and he was just told some things. He took one of his claws and cleaned out his ears before saying, could you please repeat that? I must have misheard you? Kami smiled and said, I am going to see to it that he has another mate. Maybe in the next few hundred years I will give him more. This one is perfect. All she needs is a little battle training. Kurama said, okay, I agree she is a good mate, but I did not figure you would agree with him having two mates. He will not agree with him having two mates. Kami said, I know, but it will work out. Now one more thing, when the time comes there will be 3 little girls that I want you to make immortal. Kami then outlined the plan to the 9-tailed fox lord. He was in shock, but then he started to laugh. He liked this new plan, he really liked this new plan a lot. He said, well, my lady, I did not know you had this side of you. I am impressed. This is going to be fun. This will be like giving the bird to the white-eyed one. It is evil and underhanded and a prank worthy of a fox and of Naruto. Kami's sweet dropped as she said, only you would find this fun. They heard a voice say, no, this is fun. However, having my granddaughters get hurt is not fun for me. I hope you will allow revenge. Kami smiled and said, of course I will, Kushina. I may even let you join in, you as well, Kurama. Both smiled at that, and it was not a friendly smile, it was the I am going to destroy you and enjoy doing it smile. This smile was really scaring Kami, and I mean really scaring her. She was starting to have second thoughts about allowing these two their revenge on the Leaf Village. Naruto had made it home. He was a little tried, but he was happy to be home. For the first time since his return from his training trip, he was truly happy to be home. He now had a reason to be home. He had someone that loved him and wanted him to be home. He had his daughter and his girlfriend. Tomorrow night he had a date with his girlfriend. He made it to the Hokage office and was given a bone-breaking hug. He actually heard his bones being broken. Naruto gave the report as his grandmother was healing his bones. She had finished up her work, so the two left to go home. Naruto said, is anyone tired to contact Amber? Tsunade said, I do not think so. Kurenai will know for sure. The duo made it home and Naruto was greeted with a hug and a kiss from Kurenai. Tsunade walked to her room and went to sleep. Naruto went to give Amber a kiss on the forehead. He promised her that whenever he went out of the village on a mission he would give her a kiss once he returned. Kurenai said, can you please hold me tonight, I have missed it? Naruto smiled at that, which gave his answer. He got to his room and noticed that someone had been sleeping in his bed. Kurenai, seeing this, said, I am sorry, it smelled like you and I have not slept this well in many years. Are you upset or creeped out? Naruto smiled and gently kissed her before saying, no, not at all. I find it cute. So the couple went to bed both feeling really good. Naruto did in fact hold Kurenai in his arms. Naruto got up the next morning and went to make breakfast. Kurenai helped him. She asked, Naruto, I know this is sudden and I know we have not been dating long. However, this feels right, it feels wonderful. She took a pause to gather her courage before saying, can we move in with you please? Naruto thought about it and said, you are a smart person, so if you think it is a good idea at this stage then I will trust you. I don't feel like we are rushing things. It just feels right, I am not sure, I can't explain it. Kurenai asked, so where are we going on our date tonight? Naruto smiled and said, well, I was thinking a nice picnic under the stars. I know a secret spot that is perfect. Kurenai liked that ideal. She knew he was not trying to be cheap. Naruto did not trust many of the restaurants at all. Only a few of them he trusted, but they were not worthy of a first date. The picnic was simple, but she liked it. Rose and Amber walked into the room to get their food. Both girls are tired. So it took them until Naruto handed them their food for them to react and notice that he was home. With a shout of, "Daddy," Naruto was tackled to the ground and a hug from his daughter. He said, "I missed you as well, my angel. I got you and Rose a gift. This comes from a friend of mine." He gave each girl a Princess Gale doll. Both girls hugged him and thanked him. Amber said, "Daddy, how did you get these dolls? They're hard to find." Naruto smiled and said, "Well, Princess Gale is a friend of mine. She can't wait to meet you, Amber. She helped make sure I could adopt you." Amber asked, "Why would you not be able to adopt me?" Naruto said, "When I was born, my father sealed the nine-tailed fox into me. The people in this village have hated me ever since. Only a few like me and treat me like a person. The council has tried to prevent me from being happy. One person has made it her goal to see me suffer." Amber hugged her father tighter and said, "I know you are not the fox, Daddy. You are not a monster, you are too nice for that. A demon would not take care of a child. A demon would have hurt the ones that hurt it." Naruto pulled her into a very tight hug and said, "Thank you, my angel, that means a lot to me." Rose hugged him as well. She said, "I know as well that you are not a demon. Demons do not treat others with kindness. Demons only worry about themselves. You always put others first." Naruto hugged her and said, "Thank you, Rose, that means a lot to me. I promise I will always protect you both and take care of you both." Naruto sealed the house up. The girls got up and stood to the side. He said, "Grandma, Kurenai, Amber and Rose, I must show you something." Tsunade came in and Naruto got up from the floor. He said, "After the final battle, Kurama, he is the nine-tailed fox, gave me a few gifts. He gave me the fox contract and these." He raised hands and muttered, "Release." In a puff of smoke, Naruto appeared, but with fox ears and two foxtails, both were red. He said, "He made me a fox demon and immortal. Anyone I mate with will become like this. I understand if anyone wishes to have me gone." He was tackled with a hug from Amber and Rose. Kurenai gently hugged and kissed him. Tsunade gently hugged him as well. Kurenai said, "I think Amber said it so well a few minutes ago. You are not a monster and you are not dangerous. It is going to take a lot more than this to get me to break up with you." She then gave him a loving kiss. Amber just hugged her dad tighter. She said, "I love you, Dad, you have protected me and have taken care of me. You always will, nothing will make me want to be away from you forever." Rose just hugged him, not really knowing what to say that had already been said. Tsunade said, "Well, this is odd but not unexpected, so I am good with it." The girls promised not to tell the secret. Naruto then cried, he was so happy. Kurenai left to go and get packed and get her stuff moved to Naruto's. She was also getting ready for her date. Rose said, "Mommy, who is watching Amber and I when you were on your date?" Kurenai said, "Tsunade and Auntie Anko, so I want you to be good for them." Rose said, "Okay, I will be a good girl. Are we moving in with Uncle Naruto?" Kurenai said, "Yes, we are. I know it is fast, it just feels right." Rose said, "Okay, Mommy, I trust you." Ice was nearby and helping Kurenai get ready for her date. She said, "You are dressing up too much. Wear what make you comfortable." Kurenai said, "Okay, what about makeup?" Ice said, "You don't wear it normally and that is what attracted him in the first place. It was your natural beauty. If you want some makeup, a little eyeshadow is all that you need, one that will really bring out your eye color." She paused before saying, "He really likes your eyes." Ice said after a while, "Midnight wants me to tell a little secret about Naruto that you can use to your advantage. She did not know if you were worthy yet. She feels you are worthy. If you want Naruto to relax or have him be putty in your hands, just scratch behind his ears, his fox ears. That will relax him and have him as putty in your hands." Back with Naruto, he was also getting ready for his date. He was making food. He could have had a clone do it, but he wanted to do it himself. It felt better if he did it himself. He was getting dressed in some nice cloths. Midnight said, "I think you clean up nicely, bro. Ice is telling me that Kurenai is going to knock you dead with her beauty." Naruto said, "I don't see how she can be even more beautiful than she already is." His sister gave a knowing smirk as if she was saying, "You will see." Amber asked, "Daddy, who is watching Rose and me tonight?" Naruto said, "Besides the foxes, it will be Grandma and Auntie Anko." Amber asked, "Are they moving in with us?" Naruto said, "Yes, they are. I know it is fast, but it feels right." Amber hugged her dad. She then helped him get ready for his date. Anko arrived and said, So here is one short person that I get to watch, so where is the other short person? Kurenai arrived right then and midnight was right. Kurenai looked even more beautiful than she did before. She had a simple summer dress that fit her perfectly and she wore no makeup except the eyeshadow that seemed to highlight and bring more attention to her eyes. Naruto said, I thought my sister was kidding. I did not know how you could get more beautiful but you did. This caused Kurenai to smile and blush. Saunde came home and told the couple to get out and have a good time on their date. She finished by saying, that is an order. Once they have left, Saunde pulled out the takeout she had ordered and gave it to everyone. She then pulled out a crystal orb. Anko said, are you really using that orb to spy on them? Saunde said, you mean you don't want to watch? Anko said, oh no, I want to watch very much. Amber said, Grandma, Auntie, they will be mad if they find out. Anko said, true, but it is worth it. You are not going to tell on us, are you? Amber looked in her aunt's eyes and said, only if Daddy asks me, I will not lie to Daddy. Saunde said, well, it is total worth the risk. How about a bet, Anko? Anko said, I am sorry, but that I will draw the line on. I will not bet on my brother's and best friend's date. Saunde said, okay, suit yourself. Now let us watch them, shall we? The group did just that.
That's all for now. If you enjoy this video, then please like, share and do comments.